Okay, Cinder, great to have you on. I've been looking forward to this conversation. I'm a user of a lot of borrow lend, but I've never really dug into the details of how they work. So, why don't we start with just give a little bit of your background and kind of how you got into the space and yeah, how you got onto the Pyron team.
Sure, Robert. Great to be here. So, I started programming from a very young age. I think it was like 10 years old or so.
At
Mostly I
10.
was doing, yeah, 10. Like I was, I think most people not most people, but my role models, like my idols, those also like started from young age. I don't know if it was like as young as 10, but
Right. Right.
uh so yeah, like I was really interested in programming, and just something was just clicked. Like I knew that's something that I want to do for the rest of my life, and I've been doing it ever since. um the first exposure I had with like crypto in general, obviously I heard of Bitcoin, but mostly around I think like 2015, like distributed money, distributed ledger, especially smart contracts. That was something that was interesting to me because like a concept of transferable, like another form of currency. To me as a programmer, it was just okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool, but not really something that was really resonating with me. But when smart contracts entered, that's when it really caught my attention.
How did you get into borrow lend specifically?
Sure, yeah. So after that, what I did was, obviously I was dabbling, let's say, in Rust, and that was the something I was really interested in to work with. Then it was what blockchains actually use that as the language. So for EVM, it was a bit different for Solidity, and for me, I don't really like the language, still don't. But for Near and Solana, those were two projects that really caught my eyes that also had um, using Rust to develop the smart contracts to the programs. So those were the technologies that I was really interested in. I tried to be active in those ecosystems, mess around with smart contracts, and after a while, what we did was like I had a friend who was also interested in these things. We were going to do we saw this hackathon which was for like this ZK privacy chain, and that was very interesting to us. So we went to that. There was like some ceremony, or like I think it was Turkey, and it was pretty nice. We uh, I think we placed in like top three in that hackathon, and then after that we tried to develop a V33 money market on that chain. So it was like a ZK privacy focused chain, and on that we tried to develop the that model, and we had like the AMM and everything. But
Mhm.
what we realized was that okay, so perhaps this like there are a lot of dexes out there. It doesn't matter how you really structure it. So yeah, we did that, and then what we tried, like that actually helped us find like formation of our team. So we saw okay, there's like sure this did not pan out, but obviously there is potential here. Then we try to just scour the market to see, okay, what really is needed instead of trying to just do something that somebody else did. Of
Mhm.
course, lending and borrowing is something that other people have done, but for us, that was the sweet spot. So we searched for what the market would actually need, and that's what we arrived at. So for lending borrowing, the let's say the horizon, what was on the horizon for us was not just the lending borrowing itself. It was beyond that, which was solving the big problem, which
Yeah.
is liquidity fragmentation. So you have the main market, and then you have other markets. Each of them have their own rules, have their own weights, have their own LTV, and so on and so forth. But the issue is if you fragment your liquidity like that, then it's not gonna scale very well. It's not gonna pan out. So that's the problem we set out to solve to this day.
Cool. So, and for a lot of people that maybe aren't as familiar with borrowland on chain, just how does it work? So it's like magic. You deposit and you earn yield. In the background, like what's actually happening? Like when you think of banks, right? And
Yes.
you're depositing and they're out there lending to somebody else and they're taking a spread. So, yeah, how would you describe exactly how it works, in
Yeah.
the on-chain world?
Yeah, sure. I will try to make it as simple as I can.
Yeah.
So, um, let's go with the example of the bank that you said. So, let's say you want to borrow some money from the bank. What the bank wants is probably collateral. So, you, let's say, give the bank your house, or in our example, let's say some gold coins, right? Some gold coins, you give it to the bank, and the bank gives you like a loan up to a certain percentage of your collateral. So let's say your collateral is worth I don't know, like 100K, and the bank lends you let's go with 90K.
Yep.
So whenever the money that you borrowed, let's say that the gold coin goes down, the price of the gold coin goes down compared to the dollars that you've borrowed, then the bank can say, okay, now the collateral that you have is actually worth 80K. So what I'm gonna do is gonna sell one of your coins. I'm gonna let's say repay some of your debt, and then you don't have to repay me as much, but you'll still have some gold coins there. So whenever you come back and pay me what's remaining of your debt, you can get back your collateral.
Yep.
So that's something that you could think of that exactly happening on Pyron as well.
Okay. And let's take it to the on and I'm curious. So when you come on a new chain like Fogo,
Mhm.
and by the way, thank you guys. You guys have done a great job. You've been there pretty much since day one. It's awesome, great UX. But you come on a new chain and there's really not much users, not much liquidity. Like, how does a new bar lend kind of bootstrap from minute one on a new chain like Fogo?
That's actually a great question. So, in the bank's case, they already have the money. So they have the money is their own. They have the money, and what they want is to simply um, loan it to someone, and they take collateral as insurance. But for us, it's a bit more complex. I mean, sure, in the bank's case, they also probably the money belongs to somebody else that has deposited in the bank. But they probably also have like a good amount of liquidity initially. For us, obviously, at the first step, it's very important. It would be very nice to have initial liquidity. So either like a market maker, somebody who can actually do that initial, give you that initial boost. And for them, it's just little to no risk, because what they probably are going to be depositing is something that other people want to borrow. Now, in Fogo's case, it was a bit different, because what we were expecting was USDC. So you want to trade. What you want is you put your Fogo, or I don't know, any other asset that you might want to not exit that position. You just want to put it as collateral, and then borrow USDC against it. Let's say make that kind of liquid, but not really. Go do your go do your trades, and then come back and take back your collateral. So having your cake and eat it too. But that doesn't really happen in real life, let's say. So on Fogo, obviously the main asset became and still is Fogo. So right now, what people are borrowing the most is Fogo,
Okay.
and our deposit, like a huge deposit of USDC, is going sort of like unutilized.
Okay.
But that's yeah, go on.
Yeah. And I know like you hear about people looping the Fogo. So how does
Yes.
that exactly work, and what's the advantage of doing that?
Yeah, sure. So, looping is kind of like a simple term that people use for when you like. Let's go again with the bank example, right? The gold coin. So let's say you have given the bank 4 gold coins, and the bank has given you 90K. So
Yep.
now what you do is say, okay, I have money. I'm gonna go out there and buy more gold coins. You go there and buy 90K worth of gold coins. Let's say that adds like I don't know, 3 more coins to you. You go to the bank, put that three as collateral, and the bank now says, okay, now you have seven. Would you like to borrow more? And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna borrow more. So you're gonna borrow this time 50K. Then you're gonna go and again buy some more gold coins. Put two more gold coins there, and so you repeat this process as long as it becomes no longer viable. So the amount that you borrow, you cannot buy, let's say, any more amount of gold coin that you can put as collateral. So you this is called looping. So
Hmm.
you put something and then you borrow against it, and you use that money to buy that thing again and again and again. So
Yep.
that's basically looping.
Got it. And is there risk there? Is there a liquidation risk?
So the liquidation risk comes when so you're basically overexposing yourself to a specific asset. So you're
Right.
saying what I my bet is that my collateral won't go down. That's or like relative to the thing that I borrowed. Because if the account health goes like obviously drops below zero, you're gonna get liquidated. So that's the real risk. However, in Fogo, what people are doing, that's a very smart thing that they're doing, is they're really doing that. They're what instead of like looping against like assets that are on correlated, they're like they have nothing to do with each other. What they do is they borrow Fogo and they what they do they go get iFogo or like another LSD,
Okay.
and because they're pegged together, because they have like the price is relatively would be the same, then there is no risk
Got it.
unless like something weird happens. And if that weird thing happens, doesn't matter if you're looping or if you just have that asset, you're going to be exposed
Some
to the
risk.
risk anyways, so might as
Right.
well just profit from it.
Got it. Understood.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So let's go back to the fragmentation problem. Um, so did you guys end up solving that, and how did you solve it? And it sounded to me like maybe this is a bit like cross margining, where you're looking at multiple separate assets and somehow combining them in like a portfolio margining kind of way. Is that, or you tell me, like, because yeah, I want to go back to that original comment.
sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, the big problem, no, we are still that is our end goal basically. That's
Okay.
the dragon we want to slay, let's say.
Okay.
Um, so what we want to do is basically have multiple markets, but also be able to like put collateral in one of them and be able to borrow somewhere else. So that would sort of like be a very very good step towards solving the fragmented like liquidity fragmentation, because then even if your liquidity is split among multiple markets, it doesn't really matter, because in the end people can just lend somewhere and then just borrow somewhere else. A small step towards that, like before solving that, was something else that we like. It doesn't really solve it fully, but it helps a lot.
Yep.
So we just launched Fire Mode. So Fire Mode, what it does is it allows us to have some assets in the main market, like have a different rule. So normally, let's say what people are doing right now with the looping thing, right? They are borrowing Fogo, they're then getting some iFogo, and then they just looping that, they just rinse and repeat, right?
Yep.
So normally in like a main market, the weights for these assets are not that high. So for Fogo, it's like I think it's like 50%, something along those lines. And let's say the amount that they can borrow each time in each loop is going to be limited. So one solution is, without exposing the entire market to the risk of those assets, is to have another market. So like have a new market, just Fogo and iFogo, and then there you go as high as you can with the weights and just do like borrow as much as you want. So it's going to
Nice.
be one solution. But the issue is you have taken those assets, that liquidity out of your main market. So before solving that fragmentation issue, that's not going to be a very good move for us. So what we did instead was we brought fire mode. So what with fire mode, what happens is that instead of having like instead of having to separate those assets into their own isolated market so that you're comfortable changing the rules, which are the weights and the terms of borrowing, instead we do that in the same market,
Hmm.
provided that the account is isolated. So in this case, as long as the user only has those pairs that are the fire mode pairs. So in this example, for example, Fogo and iFogo, in that regard, if they only have those two assets, the new rules, that the special rule is going to apply to them. So they're going to get a boost for iFogo as collateral. They're going to have, it's going to count to like way more in weight, and then they can borrow more Fogo against it, so that the
Nice.
looping process is going to be even more profitable.
Okay. I actually used fire mode, but I didn't know what was going on in the background. So this is
Okay.
interesting. Very cool. Okay. And have you
Yeah.
gotten a lot of activity off of that? I know you guys just launched it about a week ago,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think people really loved it, and like the issue with me, like honestly, for me, the issue was that the UX problem to convey this meaning that okay, this is what's happening. I
Yeah.
think that was the biggest issue and still is.
Okay.
So you
Well, look, we're
used
gonna
it and you were
figure this
like,
out.
yeah,
Let's get this out and post it so people can.
exactly.
Okay. Okay. So the other part is, a big reason we built Fogo the way it is the composability. And I know
Hmm.
you guys have been waiting for the ambient perp stacks because you're going to be a big part of that.
Yeah.
And I talked to Doug on another podcast, and I think he mentioned there that he wants users to be able to basically deposit Bitcoin into Pyron and use
Yes.
that as collateral, essentially in a composable, seamless way on Ambient. So I'm just curious. I don't know if you've looked at that yet. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you understand how that works, I don't know. Can you just explain,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's coming there?
Yeah, sure, 100%. So yeah, that's something that we are really looking forward towards. That when Ambient launches, to get that seamless, in like the seamless feature in place. So basically, what happens is that let's say a user is coming to Fogo, the network itself, with I don't know, again, like 100K, and they want to trade on Ambient. So obviously,
Ambient's only taking USDC right now.
exactly.
Yep.
So Ambient is only taking USDC and they have 100K in, again, let's say Bitcoin. So if they're only taking USDC, this user has to either exit that position, so swap all their Bitcoins, but that's not necessarily most people want. People want to hold.
Yep.
So what they could do is just that, go on Pyron, lend there, and then borrow USDC against that, and then go to Ambient. So these extra steps is what we want to remove. So we want it to be as seamless as possible. We want them to go there and simply say deposit with Pyron. They put their Bitcoins. It goes directly to a account on Pyron, and then they get their USDCs, like to borrow as much as possible, so that it's as seamless as possible for them.
Very cool. And I'm just curious, would they earn yield on that Bitcoin or no? Does it not work like that?
So it really depends on the market itself. What we are hoping is to create a market, or markets, of course, in the future,
Yep.
that like people, it's like a win-win situation for people. So not only are they not exiting their positions, they are also earning yield on that, and then they can also borrow against it. So obviously, if you put something as collateral, then that's not going to give you like the APY, but maybe you could do like a mix. You don't have to like go like 80%, 90% borrow rate. You could like borrow like 90% of the value. You could just go half. So you're
Yeah.
earning yield on some of it, and then you're actually putting some of that as collateral to get the USDC, get those trades going, and then of course you can always cash out whenever you want.
Got it. And if you get liquidated, so essentially your Bitcoin's getting liquidated, like on the perp side.
On the perp side, so on the perp side, I mean, not technically, but essentially, like, in the end, the result would be that, because then
Yeah.
you won't have the money to pay back the debt,
Your USDC.
unless,
Go ahead.
yeah, unless you make it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Oh, right. Got it. Cool. Yeah. Well, everybody's looking forward to Ambient coming out, and the fact that it'll be completely composable and we'll have that seamless UX would be very nice. Um, okay, last question. So first of all, I want to thank your team again. You guys took a chance on Fogo. I know there's a lot of growing pains we're going through, and we're trying to build up some traction, and we're all working hard. And I see that at Pyron for sure. But what's your grand vision? Because it sounds like you guys want to take this much further than just simple borrow lend. So like, what's the vision, the long term vision for Pyron?
So first, let me thank you for having us on Fogo. I think it's been a great journey. It still is, and it was our utmost pleasure to build on Fogo. The support of the team, the meetings that we had with you, like everything, it was perfect from day one. Honestly, of
Thanks.
course, any project has ups and downs, but when you have the support, like working closely with people who actually are caring, who want this, like have the same mindset, I think that's where things that's
Yeah, we
peak.
got lucky with this initial team. Everybody's working well together.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
So regarding the vision, uh, as I said, like that's what we have. Like that's our quest to solve liquidity fragments. So obviously we have some ideas, some rough ideas. We are working. We are testing some stuff out. It has to be secure. It has to be obviously with a good UX for the user. It has to work, of course.
yeah,
There are multiple ways that we could go about it, and we're trying multiple approaches to see what's the best approach to crack this problem. Because if we do, then that could be uh, the exponential growth that we're looking for. That would be the real next step.
yeah, agreed. Yeah, I come from the prime brokerage world, and that's essentially what they do with portfolio margining. They try to abstract away all of this kind of collateral fragmentation, but they charge an arm and a leg for it, and it's very inefficient. The settlement, and only some people have access to it. So
Yeah.
if you can somehow solve that on an on-chain open way, I agree. There's huge upside. So very cool. Before we go, any handles or websites or anything you want to plug, or to people
Sure.
for
Just Pyron Fi on Twitter, obviously. Follow that. Give that a that a follow there. Visit Pyron Fi if you haven't already, and we would love to see you looping. Our Discord is very active. Our members post daily, talk, and share strategies, share their anything really. And yeah, we would love to have you at Pyron.
awesome, Cinder? Thank you very much. Great job explaining it to somebody so that even I can understand how this all works now. And
Of
yeah, I'm
course.
gonna hang up and go and get a little more fire mode on.